Happy Monday, everybody, and welcome back to Brown Bag Bets. Powered by BetSperts, we are your daily dose of quick hit handicapping and sports betting picks. I'm Alex Christensen. Joining me, as always, Mr. Andy Molitor. How we doing, Andy? Congratulations to Matthew Fitzpatrick. Congratulations to the Colorado Avalanche for kicking the crap out of the Tampa Bay Lightning. What were you watching this week, and?
A lot of golf. I did watch like I said, I visited not only my wife's parents, but then I went to my dad's house yesterday to visit him for Father's Day, and we watched golf for a long time. Like, just that's not more chill than visiting. That's what old people call it when they sit and talk. They visit, and we had just golf on mute, watching that, cheering for either Zal or Fitz, and boy, it was an eventful final round. Yeah, the hockey game was an absolute ass blasting. Just took him to town there. Just really, and Matt gave me shit about not watching that, and I'm like, I checked the score. I'm like, well, it's not even a good game unless you had. I guess if you had Avalanche money line, it was a super fun game for you guys. But I went to the rodeo Saturday. I was in South Dakota. South Dakota. What else do you do?
Love a rodeo.
And yeah, it's just a small town rodeo. Every small town apparently has little rodeo grounds. And I mean, I was 6 feet from where they're letting the bull out of the chute. You can just kind of walk around. I mean, there's one of the rodeo guys is telling kids, like, hey, don't stick your hands through the fence. There's a bull coming out of there. These kids are, oh,
Well, it's
okay.
good
And
somebody
then
was doing it.
5 minutes later, they're just right back up by the fence. I'm like, you guys are and eventually, if the bull came that way, they'd jump. But it's fun being in the small town rodeo. Good job to everyone who participated in the Estella South Dakota rodeo. You guys were great. Barrel racing's nuts. Like, they just whip around those barrels, and like, I'm like, the horse is gonna tip over you guys. Careful. Otherwise,
It's
yeah.
all fun to
Otherwise,
watch. Skills I don't
we're
understand necessarily, but
yeah. We're on to the draft. We're on to some NFL here soon enough. We're on to a few more hockey games, at least four more hockey games for I'm hoping for the bets I've placed on that. And we'll still spin into some tennis. We have is it Wimbledon qualifiers right now?
the
Or do
men
we
are
have
qualifying right now. I
Eastbourne?
think women start tomorrow.
Eastbourne is done. Or
No, Eastbourne
when's
just started.
Eastbourne just started, so we have people who don't need a qualifier playing there or not playing at all. Qualifiers are playing. Qualifying for a slam is a much bigger to do than qualifying for regular tournaments. It takes all damn week. And yeah, well, I'm guessing the beauty about qualifying is there's a lot of qualifiers. And I haven't looked at the sheet since you got your hands on me. Usually you have a bunch of wagers in those, and I'm sure you're betting Eastbourne too, because that's just how you live your life. But yeah, if you, I'll say this at the end. I'm going to hit it a little earlier. That probably makes more sense. If you are in the YouTube chat, hit us with a thumbs up. That helps people find this show. I love you guys in the chat, though. So please do that for me, and we'll talk. Let's talk a little draft. I don't know if you've gotten too deep into it yet. We've got the NBA chat talking. We've got the draft chat talking about it, and it is. There's quite a bit out there right now, and it's hard to bet on it. There are low limits. The offshore space is very hard to find stuff. If something goes up and gets bad, it just instantly drops. It's been a tricky. It's like how you hear people talking about when you listen to these podcasts with pro bettors. So like it's hard. The hard part is getting money down. And this isn't even. It's not like we're trying to bet thousands of dollars here. It's hard to find a place to put $100 on a bet right now for some of
$50
these.
even is rare.
Yeah, it's tricky. So we'll have Dan pull up some of the overall odds for some of the top players here, and you can see we have there's some consensus numbers for favorites, and for the most part, a lot of them don't care for a lot of the people I'm talking to don't care for some of those consensus odds. But number one overall, you can see our guy Jabari Smith minus 200, Chet, that tall, skinny,
Tall,
freakish
lanky
dude.
Chet. Don't feel good
He's
about Chet.
from Minnesota, 155. And Paolo, now I had this conversation already with someone. Is it Banchero or Boncaro? I'm the one who bets
I
college
believe it's
basketball.
Banchero.
Banchero. He's the one who just
Oh,
bang
Banchero, never mind.
Bankero. All right. Well, I want to nail it before I have to do a full podcast on this tonight. Plus 950. He was a little bigger yesterday. Some people have bet that. But yeah, Jabari. Most of the news we're getting right now is about workouts and agents putting out spin, and it's going to be a fun puzzle to unravel. You have thoughts on kind of one, two, three, how you think it's going to go?
It's still pretty early, and I think less than any other draft, we have consensus now. Probably every 3 to 4 years, we maybe get a draft where we don't quite have a lock at number one, but it seems like one, two, and three are wide open at this point, and we know that Palo went and worked out for Orlando today, and I just think it's odd that these favorites are such big favorites given what we've seen, not only in terms of some mock drafts having Chet won, some having Jabari won. We hear whispers again that Paolo had a great workout, and the Magic aren't answering questions about him all of a sudden. So the next couple days are going to be pretty wild. I'm very excited to listen to the deep dive tonight. If you don't already follow Vegas Refund, he's got a bunch of great tools. He's got a consensus odds board where you can see all the mock drafts. He's even got some bets up there already. But I think that, again, you look at some of those numbers and all the favorites to me look really big. So I've just been putting in bets on chaos. And like you said, you can't get really too much down, but even, $50 here on a few of these things are look like really great value to me. Again, Paolo had a great workout for the Magic that would put him at number one. You poke around, you should be able to find number one. Most places, again, offshore have number one odds. A lot of the regulated places do as well. But I think that these odds should be much, much closer. You look at the board again, it's pretty much Jabari and Chet pretty closely, but I think that Bonchero number is going to drop like a rock. So give me some Bonchero to go number one. And then same thought at number two. Oklahoma City really hasn't indicated much which way they're going. We know there's two players that are really attractive, not only to them, but in general. And it's Bonchero and Jaden Ivey. And I think I gave out Jaden Ivey as kind of a throwaway last week. So double check and see if you have that already. But at number two, I think that's a spot where Oklahoma City might be able to induce Houston into maybe trading up for Paolo if he's still available, may get another team to come in for Ivy or something like that. It just Oklahoma City has a lot of variability there. And if Bonchero goes number one, they really like Ivy. If Bonchero doesn't go number one, they like him too. It's honestly just mostly a fade. I think Chet's going to drop like a rock. It's the more I look at him, the more I read some stuff about him. I don't know how anybody could be more excited about him than some of these other guys. So you look at that, and then I haven't said Jabari Smith's name yet. And if we have kind of a Paolo, maybe Ivy, Chet thing, anything's possible really at that number three pick. And Jabari Smith, you can find 20-1. Again, just kind of betting on chaos here at the top three. The next one, Keegan Murray, number four. Vivek Ranadiv, who owns the Sacramento Kings, pretty much every year says which player he wants, and pretty much every year that's who the Kings draft. And he wants Keegan Murray this year. And Keegan Murray is a very highly rated player. There's a bunch of good options that'll be there, but the owner wants Keegan, so what the heck? At plus 300, I'm going to go with the owner who generally gets what he wants. He is the decision maker there. These next two over-unders, a little bit hard to find, but, poke around, again, on some of the regulated places. Unfortunately, in Pennsylvania, we don't have draft bets, but I hear that in other places you do. So poke around. Shaden Sharp under 8.5. He continues to drop in drafts. He's maybe 9 or 10 a few spots, but pretty much settling around 7 or 8 in every mock draft, especially some of the sharper ones. And then we've heard some reports that, with all apologies, anyway, this Jiang guy has a guarantee, basically, and we believe it's in the lottery. So as you start to look at some of these teams, he's got a lot of upside, and based on who he's worked out for, I think the under 14.5, again, that puts him in the lottery. Happy to bet that. And then the odds for him to be a top 10 pick at plus 400, I think, given how some of the teams in the back end of the top 10 are going to want to trade out, I'm curious to see how many moves we get here. I think there's going to be some teams maybe that want to jump over some other guys to grab Dieng here. And just, again, a top 10, I would have that maybe closer to 2-1. So happy to take plus 400. Again, poke around. These are at a lot of different offshores. You can get little bits down here and there. And then, if you're lucky enough to be in a state that allows you to bet on the draft legally, I'm sure you can find all this there.
Yeah, even that's a little tough sometimes, but do what you can, grind it out, ask your buddies, ask your friends, see what else. And there are, even in the legal states, there's 5 or 6 legal states that just straight up don't let you, don't let you bet draft props. Iowa is one that's become a pain in the ass. When last year for the NFL draft, I drove to Iowa. Like all these props at DraftKings that my guys in the chat were betting. I'm like, I'm gonna go bet all these. I was just ready to load up that. I'm glad I didn't like load the account up first and I'd take a withdrawal right away. But I was ready to load it up and get down there, maybe sign up for a couple other books, and got down there and realized like, oh shit, that's not a thing you can do. So we'll have some more content on that this week as we go. And
Yeah, the
yeah,
deep dive
like I
tonight.
said,
That should be great.
deep dive tonight with Vegas Refund on the same YouTube channel. Tune in 8 Eastern, 7 Central, 5 Pacific. Not sure what time in Hawaii, but if you're out there in the islands, we welcome you into the fold. We'll talk draft for hour and a half with free fun and see how things go. So maybe we'll have some news dumps this afternoon that we can go over. We'll talk about some, like you said, agent stuff, coaching stuff. Like Alex alluded to, it's good to know who makes the decisions for teams. It's just like we talked about with the NFL draft. You know, you get to know what some of these GMs know and how much influence an owner or a coach has in certain places. You know, Belichick has a little more influence over draft stuff than say somebody like I don't know, whoever fuck coaches the Jets now. It's Robert Saleh. I think there's a new guy. So, all right, hockey.
You're betting hockey,
Ho-
eh?
Hockey tonight, just because again, I'm not like doubling down, but I need the Lightning to win a couple games. So, for now, and it's the whole thing is, hey, we're betting the team that lost, the Bolts after a loss. Like it didn't work last time, but there is something to this. They play better at home. Both teams are good home teams. They get to go home down 0-2. They should see a better performance from their goalkeeper than they did on the road in game 2. And yeah, just a cheap price on the Bolts. Small DGen bet for me, just so I have something to watch on a Monday night. There's no golf tonight. There's no basketball. The draft is a few days away. So after this, I'm gonna just put a small bet on the Lightning. I don't know if somebody watches hockey and tells me this is dumb. I'm too late. I already bet this, but Andy's getting a small DGen bet on the hockey. Avs are pretty banged up. Look at that. Matt says 3 regulars not at morning skate. Might double down. So not a lot of analysis on this because I can't name Vasilevsky, Stamkos. Yep. That's the players I can name. So I can name more. I can name more Avs, I think. So I will watch some hockey tonight during and after the deep dive, and this is it. Yeah, just Bolts -10. That Bolts means Lightning. Tampa Bay money line, and like I said, I haven't looked yet, but I'm hoping you have a shitload of tennis for me today because I need something to while the time away.
Yeah, I mean, Harvard 5.5 games bet. We're still minus 125, so the market doesn't think we're way off there. And I mean, Tampa now 4-1 to win the Stanley Cup with, like you said, they're such good home teams. What the heck? I mean, Matt didn't complain about it. That should be good. Got a handful of tennis bets. Wimbledon qualifying for the women starts tomorrow. No odds up for that yet. Handful of men's qualifying matches, but we're in Germany, Andy, and I'm pretty sure you don't pronounce this the way I think you do. Is it Bad Homburg?
Bod,
Bad?
yeah, when they put that
Bade?
in front of
Bad?
a town, it means bath. So like 99% sure there's like a natural spring there or like a hot spring or something, and people would go, or like mineral springs, and people would go to this town to heal back in the days. And there actually is some healing properties to a nice mineral bath. But yeah, Bad Umburg, I suppose, and Eastbourne, that's super easy to say.
Nice
So,
and easy.
and Dan says it's good Hamburg when your bets win.
Ah.
But yeah, we have the totals, underdogs, money lines, spreads. Look at this. I'm not disappointed.
Grass season continues. Now, this first bet in Bad Homburg is hypothetically today. It looks like it's raining there. The 2 matches that we're playing were stopped, and this is next up. I can't remember which court it's on, but both matches are in the first set, and this one's waiting. Alizé Cornet plays Anna Kalinskaya, and I like the over here. This should be a really competitive match between both women. Cornet has some pretty positive results, although nothing fantastic, honestly, but a very creative, smart player, knows how to play on the surface. Kalinskaya getting much better at it. Honestly, every time she plays, really was heartened by her performances last week. But both women feature very long matches. Happy to take over 21.5, which I got at a pretty good number. I think right around plus 100, honestly. You saw a juicy 21. That's fine, too. Again, have this closer to 22. Allison Van Uutvank, again, it's grass season, so I'm just going to be betting her, honestly, anytime there's a plus in front of her name, especially especially against someone like Amanda Anisimova, who is making a surface transition. The last time she played was at the French Open, so this is her first match on grass. Van Uytvanck has about almost 3 weeks of grass experience under her belt, and this is her surface. I think her game is going to do very well, and Anisimova, I think, is going to have trouble making the adjustments here. And love Van Uytvanck at plus money. Kamila Rakimova played this morning, beat Ludmila Samsonova in a really tough match. Now, she is a young player who doesn't have a lot of experience on grass, but the little bit of matches she's played, again, like I think we're up to 8 or something like that, all look pretty positive. I think her game works well on the surface, and she's going against Caroline Garcia, who at any particular week could be great, and any particular week could be terrible, and generally is more the latter and not the former. At plus 200 and plus 4 games, I'm happy to take a swing here. I have this closer to plus 160. Over in Eastbourne, England, Katie Boulter. Again, it's grass season. I'm just going to keep betting her. She does especially well in the UK. Boulter plus 200 and plus 4 games. Now, Karolina Pliskova is great. She is one of the better grass players on tour, probably last season, the season before, but having a down year, did play a little bit better last week, but has a tendency to just kind of play matches that she's happy to just serve her way through. And I think given that, I really love the 4 games. And if we get a chance here at a tiebreaker or two, Boulter's very good in tiebreakers. So I think actually the longer the match goes, it's going to be better for the underdog when generally sometimes a quicker match is. So give me Boulter, the plus 210 and the plus 4. Again, that'll be tomorrow. And Corday Kalinskaya is the only one that might be today, but I'm pretty sure we'll have all these tomorrow morning.
Good. And as I was hunting for tennis, at some of the books I tend to bet your tennis at, I found a minus 108 on the Lightning. So, and Casey Brown says it opened plus 105. So it's moving. He said, right bet, wrong price. Like, you're late to the party, Molitor. That's kind of what I get for betting into a market I don't normally
Steam
bet into.
chaser.
I know I need to be better about that with golf too. I'm betting golf so late in the week. I'm getting some bad prices sometimes on some outright
Julian would be
matchups.
ashamed of you.
I know, like God, he even has some ideas already for the Open out in his neck of the way. Even though he's not British, English, or UK affiliated, Europe's like the Midwest. Like it's not that big. They're all so close together. It's all the same thing. Speaking of golf, though, we do have a tournament this week, and really, it's a pretty fucking good lineup here for a week after a major. Rory, JT, Scotty, Patrick Cantlay, Burns, Shoffley, Spieth, Tony, Sungjae, Joaquin. Look at the top of this board here.
No Morikawa.
Yeah, Morikawa's Bryson is fully LIV'd at this point. Brooksy might be heading that way too, or he's probably further down the board because he sucks. I bet against him. So my full tournament matchups, 3 out of the 4 cashed for the cut line, which is super nice. And the one that didn't, they were tied. It was Brooks and Matsuyama, and Brooks is like his weekend just made me giggle. I think I won that matchup by 15 strokes. Like Brooks just played so horrible Saturday and Sunday. It was delightful. I was almost hoping he would miss the cut. I know some people who place that, but then I realized like I'm gonna just keep betting against him. I bet on him on a single tournament matchup Sunday as well. So I'm gonna just double down that he sucks and him sucking his. I've enjoyed it. Like it's not like I don't like the guy, but the stats don't match the name. And I love betting against a guy with a good name who the market is not wanting to disrespect, apparently. So
one of my favorite tennis strategies.
Yeah. Otherwise, I don't really have a take here yet. You can go read Ron's preview over at BetSports Golf. If you did that, you'd be 2 steps ahead of me because I have not even done it yet. I'm going to have some outrights. I'll talk.
Too much fun yesterday.
Tomorrow, Matt will come in and evaluate how Game 3 went, talk some Game 4, talk some series awards, maybe shit like that. But when I'm back Wednesday, I'll have an outright or 2. I'll have some full tournament plays. We'll talk some Travelers Championship when I get back on Wednesday. And then, if you want to catch any of the BetSports Golf stuff over there, follow at BetSports Golf on Twitter. That's a good place to catch some of that. And then, we'll try to keep rolling with the matchups. Matchups last week. 14-6.
Whew.
with the full tournament and the in-tournament ones, the round
pretty
ones.
good.
Like one of my better weeks for matchups. It's fun when they're working, even though I you ever do that where you bet against this is perfect tennis analogy. You bet against a tennis player, you lose, they advance. That's the worst part is they advance.
Because you're
Because
going
then
to
you
bet
bet
against
against
them
them again.
again.
So like the same thing with golf. I made 3 matchup bets against Min Woo Lee, and it just my numbers weren't wanting him to play very well here, and he did for 2. And I looked at it in the third day, the last day, I'm like, man, do I just not make this bet because this guy has killed me 2 days in a row? And I said, no, I'm not gonna. Minwoo Lee does not beat me 3 days in a row, so I ended up
Nobody beats Andy Molitor 3 times in a row.
nobody does it. So Minwoo Lee, we got you. We got you on Sunday finally. It felt damn good to get that one out of there. So yeah, thanks to FanDuel. Thanks for Alex for giving me some tennis to degen on. Thanks to producer Dan, who will be on the grounds at the Travelers Championship
Ooh.
doing some in-depth reporting
Advanced scouting.
from the event. He'll be out there tomorrow. We'll have some fun stuff. Again, over on BetSports Golf, I'm sure he'll have some good posts from fully boots on the ground in Cromwell, Connecticut. So with that, we'll catch you tomorrow, huh?